Good morning slash afternoon to everyone that's listening to this. So, today I will be talking a little bit about the European starling, which is a fascinating bird species which has unfortunately become a major problem here in North America. Um, they are a problem for native species and even human activities. And through this presentation, I will dive into how to spot them, their history here in North America, and the challenges that they pose being an invasive species. Um, like I said, they're found here in North America, but they are also very common in Ohio. So I will dive a little into how to actually spot them. So they are a small, medium sized bird, about the size of a robin, and they have a striking appearance. So during the winter, they have very glossy black feathers, which are also speckled with white spots. And this gives them a very unique, almost glittering look. They also have a very thin, pointed yellow beak, which stands out against their dark feathers. Juvenile starlings, on the other hand, are a pale brown color with a black beak, such as the picture in the bottom right of the slide. Um, And these birds, whether adult, whether juvenile, they tend to gather in very large, noisy flocks, which can be seen in many urban city landscapes. When it comes to nesting, these birds are very adaptable. They can build nests in man made structures, tree nooks, bird houses. If it looks like they can build a nest there, they will probably try. However, this adaptability has led them to thrive in many environments. Um, Now, I will go a little bit into the starling's lifestyle, a little bit about the starling. So, they typically live about 3 to 4 years in the wild. They are foragers, which mean they rely heavily on man made sources for food. This includes landfills, processing plants, etc. Pretty much anything that we use as our waste, they will use for their food. Um, However, they also do feed on some things out in the wild, such as beetles, larvae, seeds, wild fruits. Um, Anything that birds typically eat out in the wild, they will also eat that, anything they can get their hands on. Um, and what makes them very remarkable is their intelligence. Starlings are known to be incredibly smart, almost like crows are known to be. And they're able to learn and adapt very quickly to their environments. Um, they can even mimic the calls of other birds they hear in their surroundings. And they are also very strong flyers, being able to fly up to 45 miles an hour. And this information is according to an article done by Cornell Lab. So, how did they get here? They're called European starlings, which means that they're probably supposed to be in Europe, but what are they doing here in North America? And that story is actually very funny. So it all started in about 1890. A group of Shakespeare enthusiasts met in New York City's Central Park. And the goal of this was these enthusiasts wanted to release every bird mentioned in Shakespeare's writing. So they released about 100 of these European starlings out into the wild in North America. And this led to very unintended consequences. So only 100 were released. However, as they started to reproduce, they spread rapidly across the continent. And now there are about 150 million spanning across North America. And this has led them to be one of the most widespread bird species. However, they are one of the most problematic bird species as well. And this information is also from Cornell Lab. And then the map here at the bottom, the purple area is where these birds are um, most commonly found in the continent. So they're here. they're here in abundance, but what actually makes them an invasive species? So they are unfortunately very aggressive birds. They compete with native species, particularly woodpeckers, for food and nesting sites. So, as a result, many native birds lose out on their prime real estate and aren't able to have a home. So, this has led to declining populations of our native bird species. And this is according to Homan et al. In 2017. And then on top of that, European starlings also cause significant damage to our agriculture. To be exact, $800 million a year worth of agricultural damage. They eat fruit, they consume animal feed, and then they also spread these diseases to domesticated animals, especially cows, especially our livestock. And this just further complicates the problem of them being domestic because not only are they harming the biodiversity of our ecosystems, but they are also harming us as humans and our food supply. And this is also according to an article by Homan et al. In 2017. And additionally, they also pose a risk to aircraft. Their large flocks can be very dangerous near airports. These birds, they see airports, they think it's a great nesting site. However, it poses a risk to the actual flying aircraft. Um, the airplanes can hit these birds in the air, and this can cause damage to both the aircraft and to the passengers of the aircraft. So now we know they're invasive. Now we know that they're here in America in an abundance. So, what can we do to control this? So, there are various efforts that have been put in place to manage these populations. And a very common method is to simply crack eggs if you find them in a nest. This can be a little difficult because you have to know if they're actually a European starling egg. But for people who know their eggs, know their birds, a very common method to control populations is to simply crack the egg to prevent them from reproducing. And airports and farmers alike take precautions to reduce the likelihood of starlings nesting in dangerous or problematic areas. So this can be the use of frightening devices, and you can trap and relocate the birds. And a lot of people resort to netting of their crops, like the picture below, to stop the birds from actually eating them. And then, unfortunately, a common method in some particular states, if the state does not protect the European starling, then some choose to simply shoot the birds to protect their crops. So to wrap up, we know that the European starling is a very fascinating yet unfortunately a problematic species. They're incredibly adaptable. They're smart. However, they are also very aggressive and compete with native birds. And they also are very harmful to our agriculture and can cause some damage in and around airports. So, efforts to control their population is necessary here in North America to protect our own native species, our own agriculture, and even our public safety. So, thank you for your attention. I hope you guys learned a thing or two.